Dude, keep running. It's chasing us. What are you talking about? What? No, don't! Look back. Editing this video fucking hurts, man. Look Back is a one-shot manga turned film made by Tatsuki Fujimoto, the author and illustrator of Fire Punch, or his more commonly known series, Chainsaw Man. The story follows these two girls, Fujino and Kyomoto. See what they did there? Fujimoto. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. The movie is about what it means to be an artist and why artists do artist stuff. In this case, the movie shows the two sides of the author, Fujimoto, with Fujino representing the more less passionate but prideful side of him, and Kyomoto representing the more passionate but introverted side of him. But while I was watching the movie on a pirated site, while eating hot and spicy chicken muruku dipped in cheese, I began to slowly realize they're just like me for real. This movie is probably made to be like a universal art kid experience, but I don't care, alright? So many things that have happened to me before once in my life happen in this movie, and I'm just forced to sit there as old wounds start to open up, worms come crawling out. What I want to basically say is that this movie was very relatable to me, alright? And here's why I think so. Fujino is an art kid, and like most art kids, she revels in the attention and praise given by classmates after they read her comedy manga strips from the school's newspaper. She's also someone who is extroverted, a little prideful, and somewhat shallow. When her classmates sing praises for her recent work, all she does is gloat and brag about how the manga strip only took 5 minutes to draw, showing her lack of care for the actual process. She's also someone who's talented in other areas, shown in the movie through her friends saying how she's good at sports, and in a montage showing how she's excelling at her taekwondo classes. And unlike most art kids, she's pretty sociable and has a lot of friends. And from all the things I've been telling you and what the movie has been showing you, it should be clear that someone like Fujino will not stay long in the hobby. Which is true, since she stops enjoying art right after finding out there's a student way better than her. Which is Kyomoto. She's a truant student, meaning she doesn't go to school but she still draws for the school's newspaper. She represents the more quiet and timid side of the average artist, cause compared to Fujino, all she really has is art. She doesn't have a lot of friends, almost no friends, we never ever get to see her parents or relatives, and she barely shows skill in anything else. But what she does have over Fujino is passion. Unlike Fujino, who only started going back to art after she found out that Kyomoto was a big fan of her, Kyomoto has always been an artist. Even when they published their first manga and became successful, all Kyomoto wanted was to further her art skills and draw even better, because to her, the praise and attention wasn't what truly mattered, it was just love for the hobby. And I can say as an artist myself, I honestly relate more to Fujino than Kyomoto. I know that feeling of wanting to be someone special, I know that feeling of wanting to hear praise of things I'm good at, and I know that feeling of seeing someone else better than me and having everyone completely abandon me to focus on the other person. I haven't done art for quite a while, which I know is kind of wild for a self-proclaimed artist to say, but really it's the only thing that's ever felt right to me. No matter how many times I curse myself for drawing badly or feeling like shit because I see someone better than me, I will always have that want to be an artist. Kinda sounds like a character I just mentioned earlier. And I know I've reinforced this point so many times, but at the end we finally get to see Kyomoto ask Fujino why she does art. At first she says it's not fun, it doesn't look cool, and it's super tedious, as if she's lamenting it more than she's loving it, even going as far as to admit that maybe art really isn't for someone like her. So then Kyomoto asks, then why do you draw, Fujino? And her answer was this. As the movie reaches its climax in the middle, Kyomoto and Fujino have an argument. Kyomoto wants to go to art school while Fujino wants to continue their manga, Shark Kick, which is what Chainsaw Man was ripping off of. This scene truly shows the toxic side of Fujino, who starts pulling out all the manipulative tactics on her, telling her, well, you don't do much anyway, there's no way you can handle that. If you just stick with me, everything will work out, you ain't shit. All hurtful things that might have torn Kyomoto down when she was younger, but ironically, meeting Fujino was what gave her strength and will to keep chasing that dream of wanting to get better at art, which is something that Fujino also recognized once in their life. It's safe to say that Fujino is pretty horrible building someone up like that to make them rely on you and tearing them down once they finally realize their need for independence. It's bad enough that she said some hurtful ass shit, but I feel that manipulative side to her was what made the argument so much worse. And at this point I feel like I already gave a lot of spoilers, so it doesn't really matter, but Kyomoto, she dies. The college she went to was unfortunately attacked by an axe-wielding assailant who allegedly did it because someone plagiarized their art, killing 12 students and gravely injuring 3 in the process. But most importantly, Kyomoto was one of them. Fujino was stunned by the news, and out of grief she went to Kyomoto's old house and started rummaging through her old stuff, finding the manga strip that she made to make fun of her, which funnily enough is the thing that united them together in the first place. Filled with regret, she tears it apart and one of the pieces falls under the door, breaking space-time continuum and creating infinite universes. I'm kidding. Now see, usually most anime characters, when a loved one dies, they usually go like, my Nakama, Caesar! Or but I feel the way they portrayed death in this movie was really good. Fujino starts imagining an alternate reality where they never met, and as Kyomoto was about to get attacked, Fujino Kiryu dropkicks the assaulter and saves the day, also preventing the other 11 students from their untimely death. This is obviously just a product of her imagination, but damn, it's nice to see a somewhat realistic approach when it comes to grief. Cause when a traumatic event happens to a person or something that just happened that changes the course of their life forever, they start to overthink and wonder scenarios that would have never existed and how they could have avoided that from happening. And as shown in this scene, the scenario that Fujino made up is obviously barely realistic. Side note, I like that they only ever show an insider's perspective on the massacre through Fujino's made up reality, which makes the initial report feel so much more scarier since they're basically forcing the viewers to imagine what happened. And at the end, she continues her job as a manga author with memories of Kyomoto and her robe hanging up on the wall. Cause even in the end, even after her best friend dies, her only reason to keep going was because of her. The other stuff I wanted to talk about is the art and music. For the art, I honestly really loved it. Tatsuki Fujimoto's art always gave me this unexplainable feeling of pure raw emotion, and the only way I can explain this is by comparing how he draws his characters crying. With his art style specifically, he goes for a more realistic, ugly crying approach. Their noses scrunch up, their eyes go dim like a light bulb, and their faces covered up in tears to the point where they look like they're melting. I think the art really fits well with the tone of the story, and I'm glad the animators did it justice. The music is pretty good. It barely even plays throughout the movie, but listening to the OSTs while editing, it gave me this feeling of childlike wonder and nostalgia. Of course, there's some heartbreaking piano action, but other than that, I don't really got much to say since the movie is mostly silent. I mean, you wouldn't want them to do this during like a sad moment. Overall, I give this movie an 8 out of 10. Definitely worth watching if you want to watch something sad as hell, and definitely way worth watching if you're an artist with a passion for it. I didn't really understand the symbolic meaning of Kyomoto's death. Some people said it's a reference to the KyoAni arson attack that happened way back, and yeah, I can see why it makes sense. Anyways, I have talked a lot, and I think I'm done talking about the movie. I'll see you all in another video. Goodbye.